Well, hi guys, welcome to the Chef's Pantry. How are you doing? I'm Anna Rossi, and this is a busy time of year. So let's start the day off right with some delicious make-ahead breakfasts. Okay, so today I'm so excited to share my favorite homemade house harvest granola with dried cranberries and hemp. It's so yummy, and even better, it makes a delicious hostess gift because we're probably going to be going over to some friends' houses, and don't go over empty-handed. And then I have a delicious pumpkin pie spiced chia pudding. I had to get on board. I love pumpkin spice. This is my nod to a favorite fall flavor. And then to start, let's make some egg bites. So all of these recipes are great make ahead. They're easy for grab and go. If you're a busy lady like me, sometimes you fly out of the house and you haven't nourished your body. And then by 11 o'clock, you're about to go live on the hub, and all of a sudden you start to crash, and I don't want that to happen to any of us. Okay, so for these egg bites, it's kind of like a copycat of what you see at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. The egg bites, the omelet bites, but these are better because we know exactly what's going into them, and you can tweak them with the basic ratio to make them filled with your favorite ingredients. They bake super simple at 350 in the oven, and then they store really well through the week in an airtight container. So today, I start with the base of eggs. My secret weapon is a low-fat cottage cheese. Today I'm using some delicious sharp white cheddar, and then I have some scallion, some crumbled bacon, and a little bit of kosher salt and heat, Aleppo pepper and black pepper to just pop in there. Okay, so in the spirit of a delicious omelet, you want to get a really great whisk in your eggs. This is how I make my omelets, and it's like a secret ingredient, but really it's just technique. You want to whisk your eggs until they run smooth through your whisk, almost like water. So you don't have it gloppy and snotty. You just want it to like evenly strain. And this is like the cornerstone of Jacques Pepin, who's famous for his omelets, his technique. So from there, the cottage cheese is what's going to give it this really great body. These are going to bake off almost like a souffle, so they're going to get poofy, they're going to be light, but most importantly, they're packed with protein, and you can eat them one-handed in the car while you're buzzing around doing your errands. Okay, let's see how we're doing. That's looking delicious. See how fine it's running through the whisk? I love that. I love that. And I also love cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is like one of those old-fashioned snacks that I grew up eating, and now it's back in my refrigerator, and it is so good. It's packed with protein. You get great calcium, great structure. I'm just gonna go ahead and fold this in. And then, I'm like sneaking in some vegetables even on myself. You know what? It's probably the one vegetable I don't really like is summer squash. Don't tell my kids. But guess what? It's yellow, and I don't think I'm even going to see it in these yellow eggy mixtures. So I'm gonna pack in some vitamins and fiber right in there. I'm gonna use a little pinch of the cheddar so it gets melty and gooey in my egg bite itself, but then I'm going to save some to top. So it gets like that nice little like coloring on top as it starts to bake. And then a little bit of heat, nice pepper, a little bit of kosher salt. But don't forget, the cottage cheese does have some salt in it, so you've got some great flavor there too. And then let's just chop off the end of this little baby summer squash. Try to take advantage of all these great veggies that are still kicking and farm fresh. And then a nice coarse grate on the summer squash is going to help these like really incorporate well, almost like the cheddar cheese into this delicious egg mixture. Well, just go all in, right? So 5 eggs, about a cup, or 6, this was 6 eggs and about a cup of cottage cheese, but from there, pull in your favorite flavors. Maybe steam some spinach, wring it out, chop it up coarsely, toss that in. You could do kale. Swiss or Gruyere cheese is also super, super delicious. And then the one thing that you really want to take advantage of is a good cooking spray or butter in your muffin tin. I like to save on paper and just go straight into my nonstick tin. And then you're going to fill up about halfway to the top because these will poof as they start to bake, and you don't want them to overflow. So let's see how many we yield. This ladle is actually the perfect size. It's about 1/3 of a cup. In you go, and this is like a standard muffin tin. Oh, I love seeing that little pop of cheese blended in with the summer squash. Ooh, and I think we're gonna measure this out. Perfecto, we're off to a good start this week. Wow, how about that? And then let's not forget a little salty crumble, scallion, and cheddar for the top. So good. So these are some of my favorite flavors, but the kids also love these. I'd probably save the scallion and just do those on halvesies if I was sending the kids out the door for the car line pickup or bus without the scallion. But this is also something fun. Get them involved. If you're making lunch and snacks and breakfast for a busy family, trying to get everyone out the door, making sure that they have some good brain food. Certainly, I know in our house, everybody is in a better way because of that. And then let's finish these off with some cheese. Okay, so I have the oven preheated to 350. These are going to bake between 20 and 30 minutes. I'm just going to give them a little tap so the center is bouncy. And just imagine like a little, like, you have to like tap into your egg intuition. You want a little spring action. I'm gonna pull them, let them cool, and then we'll pack them up and get them ready for the week. Okay, so I'll see you in about 20 minutes. Welcome back to the Chef's Pantry. You guys, we're starting the day off right in this episode with delicious make-ahead breakfasts. Okay, now, here's some pumpkin spice I can get on board with. We're gonna make our own delicious pumpkin pie chia pudding. Oh, okay, all you fall lovers, here we are. Okay, so ingredients are so simple. They're great pantry staple ingredients that come together super fast, so you have breakfast on the go ready and waiting for you in your refrigerator. To start, chia seeds. Look at these little babies, so good. Some canned pumpkin puree, I have about 1/2 cup here. Some maple syrup to sweeten it, some coconut milk. You could use regular milk, almond milk, oat milk, your choice. And then our very own pumpkin pie spice blend. So I have cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and a little bit of clove. And then I always like to balance out with just a little pinch of kosher salt. When you're having something sweet, the salt actually helps amplify and blow out all these great flavors that we want. Okay, should we make it? It's really easy. Chia pudding is one of my favorite things to grab at the coffee shop or bakery as a healthy breakfast alternative to the blueberry muffin. And it's so easy to do at home, and there's so many different flavor possibilities. So into the base of coconut milk here, we're gonna add all of our ingredients. Let's go ahead and start with the pumpkin puree. This is a great way to get those classic fall flavors that, of course, in New England, we absolutely adore, but we're not loading it up with refined sugar. The pumpkin itself has a really nice sweetness, and you know what you can also use as an alternative to the pumpkin puree, especially if you're inspired at the market, is roasted butternut squash or sweet potato. Or you could get your sugar pumpkin and roast your own. So it really incorporates well into the liquid mixture. And then to just give it a little extra, I thought I'd try my little frothy thing. Ooh, look at that. Pumpkin hue in action. I'm liking it. Now, right to this mixture, I'm gonna go ahead and add my flavors, my pumpkin pie spice blend. You know, you can buy it already mixed. I'm sure you know this, little foodie friends out there. But making your own too lets you throttle up and down your favorite flavors. So I actually like to go a little bit heavier on the ginger and cinnamon. And then, of course, like if you have the fresh nutmeg grated in there too, so good. Okay, chia seeds are so awesome. They're packed with protein. They're filled with soluble fiber, and they have healthy fats and omega-3s. But you know what's super cool about them? These little babies are basically like miniature sponges. They can absorb up to 10 to 12 times their volume in liquid, and that's what gives you this really satisfying gelatin-like texture. It makes you feel full and satisfied, like you're really treating yourself to something crazy decadent, but it's just like the magic of the seed, baby. And then to sweeten it, let's add a little bit of maple syrup. Agave would also be really nice. Not too sweet, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. I mean, what says fall more than pumpkin, spices, and maple syrup, right? Okay, and then how about that little pinch of kosher salt? Right in there. Okay, so we'll see how much this makes. I'm thinking this will be about 2 really good servings, maybe enough to share a spoonful or 2. And my favorite way to go ahead and chill and refrigerate these are in mason jars where I have that lid ready to go. If you're looking for mason jars, you know where it's actually a really good place to get them out and about is at a hardware store. I got these at the Essex Co-op in Topsfield, and they're passionate about their pickling and canning materials, and they're so great to have different sizes on hand, evenly distributed in there. And you know what I actually like about this is that it doesn't come all the way to the top. So after these are chilled, I'm going to be able to put some fun toppings like a little Greek yogurt, some fresh fruit, maybe a little crunch of granola, and some shavings of toasted coconut. Okay, so these go into the refrigerator overnight or for at least 2 hours, and you won't believe the consistency when they come out. Okay, we'll let these chill, and when we come back, you guys, I'm gonna show you my favorite harvest granola, homemade, perfect hostess gift, and for your busy mornings on the go. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Chef's Pantry. Are you ready to sink your teeth into some delicious Maple Harvest granola? Good. Okay, this is the place you want to be. Here's what goes into this. We have some old-fashioned, delicious, hearty oats, some raw pepitas or pumpkin seeds, chopped pecan, some beautiful shavings of coconut, some sliced raw almonds, some raw sunflower seeds, some ground flax, a little bit of salt, some dried cranberry, and a little bit of pure olive oil and maple syrup. And making your own homemade granola is just this easy. This is basically the kitchen sink. I rummaged through my pantry, pulled out things that look delicious to me, and then we're gonna bring them all together in one big old bowl. Okay, so one of the things that's probably the most important if you are making your own granola is to pick your seeds and nuts that are raw and unsalted, because we're going to harmonize all these ingredients on our own in the oven. We're going to roast them, we're going to season them. So you don't want things to be overly toasted and seasoned by the time they get to the bowl. And so this is a great place to start. Look how beautiful all of this is already. And then look, I've done this with whole flax seeds before too, but I love getting this little dusting too. So you're just like sneaking and squeaking in all these great fats and omegas without even really feeling the hardship of it all. Okay, so this gets a nice little stir, just blend it all together. I've got my oven preheating at 350. And then this is like something I love granola because it's great on its own as a cereal. It's delicious on top of a really thick and creamy Greek yogurt. And then I also like just snacking on it in a bag when I'm commuting. It's easy, easy, easy. Okay, so for flavors, I love using pure olive oil. So just like light, not the extra virgin olive oil when I'm baking, as opposed to a vegetable or canola oil. It has, of course, the health benefits of olive oil, but the pure olive oil has a really mild flavor. So I'm not trying to make a flavor statement with this fat in this case, but you could also use an avocado oil or coconut oil would also be really delicious. And here I'm just doing equal parts, maple syrup, and I want to yield about 1.5 cups total. Maple syrup and the olive oil. And now let's emulsify it. I want all this blended. So I'm going to use my little coffee whisker. It's getting some airtime today. These are so awesome. I love using this for my oat milk lattes in the morning, but it is truly multifunctional and super handy and just powered by some AA batteries. Definitely, probably my favorite COVID Amazon purchase right here. And then when I say emulsified, I want everything blended, creamy, and incorporated. So the texture will start to kind of become almost like that vinaigrette, like sort of milky like consistency. And that's just going to let this delicious mixture blend nicely on on top of all of our oats and seeds. How good is this? Okay, and yeah, this is when this bakes, it's going to create clusters and clumps, and all of this delicious flavor is just going to saturate into especially the oats, and it's going to be phenomenal. Okay, and let's just add a pinch of kosher salt. I always feel like that's good luck, right? And then look at this. Those green pepitas are so awesome. And great for the harvest time, right? When you're thinking of fall, pulling in pumpkin in really creative ways is always a great thing. And now here you could add a little bit of cinnamon, you could add some ginger, you could add some nutmeg, pumpkin pie spice, if you will. This is a great time to do that. But I'm letting the maple and coconut take the flavor lead here. Okay, so I have a parchment lined baking sheet. Let's go ahead and swap these out. And then we're just going to turn it out. And this will bake for about 30 minutes. And a couple times I'm just going to peek in, pop open the oven, pull the tray out, and with a flat spatula, rotate it. So all the mixture gets evenly toasted and crisp. Then we'll pull it out, let it cool a little bit. Wow, look at that, so beautiful. This is what I think is what beauty looks like for breakfast on a parchment lined baking sheet. We'll let it cool a little bit, and then once it's nice and cool, toss in our dried cranberries. Okay, so meet me back here in 30. Let's have some TV magic. All right, you asked for it, you got it right here. 30 minutes, 35 minutes in the oven. I tossed it 2 times. And look, it's beautiful. It's nutty, it's toasted, it's roasted. It gives this great color everywhere. It's had a little chance to cool, probably about 30 minutes. I don't want it warm when I add my dried cranberries, but you could really add any sort of fruit you want. I've done this with dehydrated apple, apricot is really delicious. You could have some fun with dried cherries, whatever you like. Toss it in. This is your homemade granola. Also, my house smells amazing. This is so aromatic, and nothing better than the smell of maple and toasted nuts wafting through the room and make you feel all those cozy fall feels. Am I right? Okay, so this is delicious. You can store this in an airtight container in a Ziploc. This keeps really well in your pantry for a week or 2. But my guess is it's not going to last that long. And you know what my favorite part of homemade granola is? Are these bits that didn't totally break apart. When they were being tossed, that maple is what makes this truly a New Englander's delight. Okay, but let me show you how I like to serve it up. Obviously, this is great and super easy for snacking, but if I was having brunch or a refined, quiet morning after my kids both get on the school bus and all of a sudden it's quiet and I want to really feel like the adult that my driver's license says I am, I would take a little Greek yogurt. I'm just gonna give this a stir so it gets nice and creamy, and give it a little smear on my plate. I had this served this way at the Press Hotel in Portland, Maine, and it was so beautiful and it was so simple, and it's just all about presentation. So nice little smear of the yogurt. Pretty chefy, right? That little. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add a little crunch of the granola right on top. And then stone fruit are in season. They're perfectly falling off the pit right now. I have this gorgeous nectarine. Oops, just made a mess of it. I'm gonna go ahead and lay that down. And then to finish off with that extra little kiss of sweetness, one last little drizzle of the maple syrup. Oh, and you know what? If I had it out here, I would do a little Malden sea salt. That fleck and crunch on top would just be perfect. But this looks like the breakfast of champions for me, in my opinion. But the other thing is my social calendar, I'm sure as is yours, is filling up. Lots of fun get-togethers with friends that I haven't seen all summer. And I don't like to go over empty-handed. So this stores so well in these cute little airtight mason jars. And it makes for the most delightful hostess gift with a little wooden spoon, tie a bow on it, and then you just crack it open and all of a sudden it just fills your heart with warmth and joy. But this is one of my favorite little Hostess gifts to bring over. So this would also be delicious on top of our chia pudding, a little dollop of the yogurt and a little crunch of the granola to add a nice little textural pop with that great pudding consistency that you get from the chia. And then the great thing with using the mason jar for your pudding is that you can go ahead and travel with this as well if you're running off to the office. A little apricot. There you have a really healthy, protein-packed breakfast on the go. Okay, so no excuses, my friends, not to eat a good breakfast. We have our egg bites, our chia pudding in the airtight container, and our homemade granola. And I think we need to have a great fall now. Thanks for cooking with me today in the Chef's Pantry. Don't forget to eat your breakfast. It's the most important meal today, and I'll see you next week. So good.